Welcome, beautiful goddesses, to Teach, Travel, Talk. I am Megan, and my mission, goal, and vision is to help guide you through the crazy journey of life and of being a human and having this human experience. Because until we realize that we are the creators of our reality, we can either make life very difficult for ourselves, or we can make our world incredible. But it's all about how we perceive our world and the world around us. So this is for you. Yes, you, the one listening, so that I can uplift and empower you to look within yourself and find that inner light, love, guidance, and intuition that will lead you to unbecome who the world told you to be and bring you back to who you were meant to be and who you were supposed to become in this life. So let's dive deep into conversations that will bring you teachable moments to implement throughout your daily life and to help reprogram the way we think. And if you haven't joined the tribe, I would love for you to come on over at facebook.com/TEACH.TRAVEL.TALK tribe. And I would love for you to get connected with Erin. If any of her message resonates with you, please feel free to reach out to her or to me. And you can find her. She does have her own website called Erin Panzarella, and I will have it in the show notes below. But if you're just listening, it is ErinPanzarella.com. And her Instagram is the same, Erin Panzarella. So I can't wait for you to hear this incredible goddess talk about her journey so far as being a soul in this human experience. And I hope you take away a lot of teachable moments, because I definitely did. So let's get right into it. Hello, welcome, beautiful goddesses, queens, and unicorns, and welcome back to Teach, Travel, Talk. Today, I have Erin here. I'm so grateful and happy to have you on this podcast, and I would love for everyone to get to know you a little bit. So please, if you would love to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi Megan. I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm grateful we connected. Hi everyone. My name is Erin Panzarella, and I always start saying I am a soul having a human experience. That truthfully feels like, oh no, we're good. Like the least limiting definition I can give myself, because I spent so much of my life trying to put myself in a box, and I would define myself by that box, and then I would no longer be in that box and be really confused. But right now, what that human experience looks like is I'm a channeler, energy healer, and I work as an accountant for a nonprofit. And that is my 9-to-5 job. I'm also a podcaster, and I am just kind of going with the flow of what this human experience is and really enjoying the process, which is the first time, I think this is the first time in my life that I can say that, because I was always trying to change who I was, what I was doing, searching for something outside of me to fulfill me. And now I realize that I'm the one who fulfills my life, not a relationship, not a job, not a life purpose even. It really just is about me being authentically myself. And yeah, so that's me.
Awesome. So I would love to start with that question. How did you definitely find your authentic self, and what is authentic, Erin?
It's so it's funny, because there's definitely days where I kind of get nervous to be my authentic self, and I kind of notice the fear and then I do it anyway, which I think is what has led me to find out my authentic self. I spent my entire life. So authentic self to me just means doing what I need to do in the moment for me and not like kind of being unapologetically me and not being worried about what someone else thinks about what I'm doing, not being worried about limiting myself, limiting what I say, limiting what I do based on how other people are going to perceive me. I spent my entire life fearful of people leaving me, fearful of the things that I wanted to do not being accepted by the other people in my life. And that led me down a path of being very sick, very depressed, not knowing how to feel anything, shoving things down. It led me to Adderall addiction, trying to find perfectionism. And it just led me down a very dark path every time I rejected what I wanted. And every time I was in fear of what other people would think of me. So I've really been on this journey of learning what it means to be authentically me, because that was a very hard thing for me to understand. I didn't even know what authenticity meant until like a year ago. I mean, I really was doing every single thing that was inauthentic. Growing up, I guess we'll start from the beginning. So I'm adopted. It was a close adoption. I consider my parents my parents. My first dad, he passed away 11 days before my 5th birthday. And after he passed away, it just kind of like completely clouded a lot in my life. Everyone used to say that I was the happiest child and that I was smiling all the time. I went through like baby books. Part of my healing journey has been like going back to that authentic child before the death of my dad, because I don't remember that. And I would go back and literally read notes, and it was like, keep being the happiest kid ever. Like literally people saying that. And I didn't remember that part of me. I didn't remember that happiness. I just remembered this huge shadow of grief. And I don't remember being that joyful kid. So a lot of what my authentic being is getting back to that authentic joy and being back in that inner child who wasn't so clouded by this heavy emotion. So much of my journey has been returning to what I forgot, returning to the me before I learned what I should be. And that's like been this journey that I'm on. So like I said, I grew up, lied all the time. Like I really constantly lied, was so afraid of speaking my truth, was afraid of what that would be. My mom, I love her. We have a very beautiful relationship, but she's an imperfect human. And there was a lot of times where her reaction to things would be way out of proportion to what I thought was warranted, and being very young and having a lot of intense energy at you can cause you to think that you are not good as you are. So I kind of hid myself. So I would try and get around that by lying. I was a very big hypochondriac because my mom worked a lot. So I always was striving to get her attention. So I would get sick, or I would hurt myself, or I would overreact about everything. So my whole beingness at that point was inauthentic. I didn't know what authentic me meant. And it really came to the point in my early adulthood where I realized I couldn't operate from that place anymore because it was going to kill me. I was heavily addicted to Adderall, like I said, and that was like the peak of my inauthenticness because I was lying about it. I was in a relationship that really, it was all fake. Like I also was like so concerned about what I looked like and concerned about being very thin and really like only concerned about what other people thought of me. And that got me into a major I was very unpassionate about. And I essentially had a severe mental breakdown to the point where I know now it was a breakthrough, but I was like, I can't live like this anymore. And my spiritual journey really started with understanding that there has to be another way. So I've been exploring, I would say I've been on an active spiritual journey. I think we're all on a spiritual journey at every point in our life, but my active spiritual journey, I always say like 6 years, 9 years, who the hell knows years, but it really started like, I don't know, 23, 24, where I started to realize there had to be a different way to operate because this was really unhealthy. I had like a mini stroke and I was really like having medical issues because of the Adderall and because I wasn't eating and I was smoking cigarettes all the time. And it really just came to the point where I knew this was not going to be okay. And I flushed my Adderall down the drain. And then shortly after that, because my ex-boyfriend at the time didn't know I was taking Adderall, our relationship started changing because I couldn't do the things that I used to do. So I was gaining a lot of weight. I was not passionate about going to school and I couldn't even get through the schoolwork and I was really struggling. And there was just so many things going on. And it was like my whole life was blowing up in order for me to build a new foundation. So I would say that me now is understanding and building that foundation and now exploring what it means to live in alignment. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. And I love like because I feel like some people believe too, like we have to hit rock bottom in order to rebuild ourselves, right? Because let's say you have a house and it's crumbling and everything. Well, you're not going to want to like restructure that house because the foundation isn't there, you know? So sometimes you actually really need to like blow it up, get in that hole, dig it, and start new. And, you know, a lot of people I feel when they're going in that turmoil, again, they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like, oh my goodness, everything around me is crumbling. And but I like that you saw it as kind of like a breakthrough, like even though you're mentally crashing, it's like, aha, no, you know. And again, sometimes it is like it takes us maybe some years to figure out that aha moment, like, oh, this needed to happen in order for this. But we have to have that foundation. We have to rebuild ourselves because obviously the old version of ourselves is not getting us to where we need to be, and we have to completely rebuild ourselves. And I feel just like you said, we're constantly rebuilding ourselves and constantly going through this human experience and being a soul on here, and kind of finding that balance within. That's definitely something I've always thought. Do you feel that you have found the balance within yourself?
Ask me today, I say yes. Tomorrow might be different. I mean, I just started opening up, like a channel portal opened up for me in January. So that was like a really big moment where this entity called the Guardians of Light started to communicate with me. And since that day, I've had a very balanced and very stable and very peaceful way of navigating. So even when I don't feel energetic or like when I feel like I'm low, it's like I know that this is part of the human experience and I know that it's temporary. And I always have this balancing act of like realizing that even when I don't feel so great as this human, I always have this faith and trust that it's going to be different. And I really feel like that's what this balance is. Like really knowing that no matter what goes up must come down. And I have definitely been in a place of balance for like since January. I also realized that I am a human. So there might be times in the future where I don't feel that way. And I've had a few times, like recently, I've had to take off from work because I was like feeling very overwhelmed with energies. I was feeling like I was doing the podcast and the energy healing and the 9 to 5, and it just felt very, very overwhelming. And I took off 2 sick days, even though I'm working from home. And like, that was a reminding thing that like, that was my balance. Like that was me taking care of myself and me taking care of the human. And I can't be so in the spiritual because I was very much like riding high on this like cloud of like channeling and energy healing and not grounding myself. And I've always been a very celestial person. Grounding is definitely my hard. It's the hard for me to do. I'm always like, even with like energy healing, my higher chakras are always like very open. And then my lower chakras are always like the ones that need a lot of clearing. So there's definitely that balancing that I need to focus on grounding a lot. And I need to also like remember that humanness and honor that humanness, because I've gone to the place where like, oh, the human stuff doesn't matter and all love and light. And then I realized, and then I was like, who cares about money? And like really was going to like this all like not living in the human realm place. And now I realized like, oh, wait, I came here to experience life as this human, which has to deal with money in the system, has to, you know, like there's certain things that you do as a human because I signed up to be here and do these things. So I really have been in a lot of balance, but that's something that I constantly struggled with. And I also am going to give myself grace and say that I don't think I'll always be in balance. I think that this human life is about contrast. So I think that there's going to be times, of course, where I don't feel very balanced, but right now I've been able to cultivate a balance for sure.
No, I definitely agree with that. That's where I'm at in my journey right now, is that balancing act. And it's funny that you said that, because I was kind of juggling working 3 jobs and doing my podcast and, you know, doing my life coaching. So it was just like, human Megan, you are doing a lot. And, you know, it burns you out. And, you know, we have to find that balancing act. And when we go too far to one side, we're not giving that other side of us, you know, like you said, like if I'm constantly in that spiritual realm and looking at that, then I'm forgetting my human experience and what that needs to bring me. And everything kind of is that balancing act. And same with, you know, I always would go like, oh, why is the world like, why is it the way that it is? Why is it so chaotic and all of this stuff? And but it's not, it's what we make it. So again, what we focus on. So of course, if I'm watching the news all the time and being on social media, my brain is kind of going to activate that negativity. But like this, if I'm having exchanges with you and we're talking about, you know, our past and how we kind of figured things out and how we're balancing life, then we're going to experience this whole different like shift in reality than what we are used to. And I'm really happy that you are finding that within. What could you say is something that you do, I guess, to balance your spiritual and your human to kind of connect with each other?
Meditation, without a doubt, is how I do that, because I always say that meditation was really like the really big leader to my spiritual awakening, but it also was the thing that connected me most to my human, because in meditation, you're sitting in silence, which we're not used to. I don't know. I don't think I ever knew what quiet or stillness of the mind was until meditation. But I also realized that a lot of my meditation practice is me just thinking. And a lot of it is me just having the thoughts, having the emotions come up and having all these things come up. And then me being able to observe it and realize that I'm separate from it has been the really big changing factor within my life. Like separating myself from the human, but also realizing I am a human who has thoughts, who has emotions. So I think meditation has been this groundedness into realizing, number one, I'm separate from the human. So I have to be the observer, and I am the spiritual being that's separate. But also, number two, I am a human who has thoughts. So I think that meditation is this really beautiful blend of both that human and the spiritual. And it's funny because like, I think a lot of people are put off by meditation because they're like, I don't know how to sit and in silence or quiet. I can't quiet my mind. And I'm like, join the club. I know that every master meditator, everyone, they are having thoughts. If you're a human here on this journey, you are having thoughts. It means you're alive.
Yeah.
And meditation is about the space between the thoughts. So when I practice meditation a lot, I notice that space does get wider and there are more spaces where I do not have thoughts, but most of my meditation practice is me thinking or like saying like, oh my God, I have an itch. Like, do I scratch it? Is that going to ruin it? And, like so much of it is that human. And I think that that practice is such a beautiful blend of both. And that's really been, it helps me ground. Like it's a really important grounding thing for me. And it also helps me connect to the ethereal and the beyond as well.
Yeah. Oh my God. I like that you said like, oh, I have an itch. Because it's something that like all of us go through, or it's like, oh, this position isn't like that great. But again, it's your body trying to give you some signs, right? Because we're not so in tune with our body. A lot of us don't listen to our body, or know why something is happening, right? So like, oh, my arm's hurting. It's like, well, maybe I should check in with it. Why is it hurting? Like, oh, is it because I'm tensed up all the time or this or, and even that, like if there's an itch, it's like, oh, but that's just a feeling. It comes and it goes. So do I actually scratch that itch or do I let it pass? So the same with our thoughts, right? Something I try and tell people, especially when they ask me always like, how are you always so happy? And it's like, well, like it's a choice, first of all. But like when I have done my meditation practice, I just don't let thoughts consume me anymore. I allow them to kind of, it's like a reel, it comes, you acknowledge it, and then you say, okay, keep moving, please. Thank you. And it's not sitting there and resonating with it and letting it become your body. Because, we have our body, we have our soul that are trying to connect, and then we have all this like craziness in between. And it's like coming in between us. And it's like, okay, wait, no, let's get that out of there. Again, it's there for a reason, and I'm acknowledging it, but I'm not going to allow it to consume my mind, body, and my soul.
Yeah, for sure. I heard this. I don't know if this is the right amount of time, but I think it is that like every emotion or every thought that comes up, or every emotion is supposed to run its course within 30 seconds.
Ooh.
So I heard that and I was like, what? Because I've held on to emotions for years. But it's really interesting because I have had emotions come up for 30 seconds before. And that's when I let them, like I've cried for like 30 seconds and then I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I don't need to cry about this anymore. And I just know the power between letting things move. But I also understand that we are triggered. There's a lot of things that is old stuff coming up because it's habitual and it's things that we haven't processed. We've been holding it within our bodies for this long. So I definitely understand why we hold on to those emotions, but I also am very mindful about not holding on to those emotions either.
Yeah. And it's hard because some of us don't even realize what triggers us. And that is sometimes like the hardest thing for us to learn is what triggers us. Because again, it could be a noise, it can be a smell, it can be something so small that we don't even realize it. And, I remember like one of mine was someone poking me. Like poking me was something that like triggered me so much, but it was something I had to sit with. And I'm like, okay, wait, why am I getting triggered here? What correlation do I have to someone like poking me or touching me or, so it's crazy how you kind of have to find that connection or else you're going to hold on to it forever. And it's not creating harmony within our body. It's actually like creating harm within our body. Just kind of like how you express like that abandonment and you getting sick because you're wanting that attention. And so you're kind of bringing that into your space and saying, hey, I'm allowing you to like make me sick and make me do all of this stuff. And your cells are listening to you. They literally are listening to you. So if you're constantly talking about how you're in pain or, you're sick and all of this stuff, well, guess what? You're attracting it. So of course you are going to be sick. You're going to have these pains. Instead of like sitting with that pain, sitting with that sickness and being like, okay, what is it here to teach me? Why did it come into my body? How did I allow it to come into my body? But now how can I release this back into the universe into a different form instead of like holding on to it?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely I always resonate with like the spelling of like disease as dis-ease. Um, yeah, like it just, I know personally, I've manifested so many different diseases within my body. And then doing the work, doing the mindset, doing this, like realizing I'm a spiritual being and really doing the spiritual work as well has completely obliterated most of my medical issues. And I don't necessarily think that's the case for everyone, but I definitely know it has been the case for me for sure.
Agreed. And again, I think that with us all being on our own journey, we each have something different that's going to get us there, and I think a lot of people, they think that, maybe they resonate with both of us or one of us and think that we're going to help them on this journey. And it's like, no, you have to help yourself and you have to learn your body, your ways, your everything. For me, healing my body, I went vegan and oh my goodness, I've never felt more healthier in my life. I got rid of, all my allergies, all of this stuff. And it's just like, but again, each one of us has our own thing. So I can't preach. Of course, it would be nice if everyone was vegan, but it's not reality. And that's okay. But again, my body has told me like this stuff was not meant for my body and it's harming my body. So I'm going to go in a different direction. But not everyone is like that. And just like you, it's like, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to transmute into something different to go, which is awesome.
Yeah, I know. It's so like, I love that you said that because my whole, even with like my channeling and my energy healing, like I'm very clear with everyone, like I'm not going to heal you. Like we are all our own healers and I'm just a conduit holding space. But truthfully, this is your body healing itself. And then when we leave this session, it is up to you to take responsibility and to step into it because I know, especially within like the spiritual, I know like I've seen it so many, there's like the like guru mentality that like, oh, if you go to this person, you go to all their seminars, you do all this stuff, they're gonna solve you. And I've seen a lot of spiritual teachers also like coming from that ego where they're like, I always see people going to the same person for like 20 something years and then they still have the same issues.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is an attachment.
Mm-hmm.
You are not getting healed of anything because you're not taking the responsibility. You're focusing on this person outside of you. And I think that's such a beautiful point that like we're all different. So we share what's helping us, but it's about figuring out. So if you hear something that resonates with me and you want to try it and it doesn't work, that's okay. Like, I don't think that what I do is going to work for everyone, but I also know that I got suggested certain practices from other people. Like I didn't come up with meditation.
Right.
So these are things that people have suggested that have really helped them. So then when I take them in and see if they work for me, there's plenty of practices I've taken in. I'm like, nope, no, thank you. Or like books I've stopped reading within like 2 chapters. I'm like, no, I don't. And maybe I'll go back to it. Maybe I won't. But a lot of things don't resonate with me. And I think that's fine. And I think that when you're really against the things that don't resonate with you, that's actually just doing harm because you're like, what you resist persists. Like I'm a firm believer in that. So if you're so against something and you're like, oh, I have to be anti this, like I definitely believe that brings more of it. So I think that it's really important to just take what works for you and leave the rest without this attachment, without feeling like you need to tear down the other thing.
That's funny because what came to me was like, so on my yoga journey, and for me, it's like, even speaking about yoga with people, it's such a personal journey going on yoga. And, when people go to yoga classes, we're constantly like, oh my goodness, that person can do that. Oh, I need to look like that person. It's like, wait. You're supposed to be in touch with your body because you only know what your body is capable of. So that person might have practiced for 10 years and can do that. And you're a beginner and you're just learning your body. And for me, like when I would go and take yoga classes with other people, and obviously me being a yoga instructor, I know my limits. I know where I can go my body. And some of these people would like come and like push my body. And it was like, okay, whoa, first of all, like I'm doing what I can and you almost hurt me. Like if I was someone who actually didn't know yoga and practice it, you would have literally like injured me
Yeah.
because you're making everyone must look the same. Everyone must do this posture the same way. And that's not how yoga is. Yoga has many different forms, different types, even in just one posture. There's so many different ways you can do it because each one of us has a different body. And when we are constantly thinking everyone is the same, and that's kind of our mentality, right? Is everyone has to be the same. Everyone's doing the same thing. And it's like, no, it's not. Everyone has their own way of doing things and they can be a little bit different. Yes, me and you could resonate and be like, oh, yeah, we both like to do yoga. We're both on this spiritual journey. But how we have gotten there is two completely different ways. And what resonates with us is probably two completely different things. And that's okay. And that's okay to have our different beliefs and our different actions, as long as I feel, again, we're trying to just better ourselves and become the best version of ourselves, then everything else just kind of needs to be washed away.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely resonate in terms of like the yoga journey, because I have very long legs, like very long, but my arms are very short. And even so, like with like down dog and like a forward fold, I need to bend my legs a lot in order for like me to even get like remotely close. Like I feel like a T-Rex sometimes with the short arms. And like it took me a really long time to not beat myself up because I couldn't stand in a forward fold with straight legs. Like I was like, I practice and I keep practicing, and I like literally have been practicing for years, and I don't know if I'll ever have a forward fold straight legs. And like to be good with that and to realize that my body has the certain ways that my body is has been the transforming factor in my yoga journey, because I don't feel pressured to look a certain way. I don't feel pressured to go into variations that don't resonate with me. And I get so much more out of my yoga practice. And I know that I'm experiencing yoga in the way that yoga is meant to be experienced by living this way, instead of living in the way that like, oh, I have to like do all this stuff and go upside down. And, you know, like just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And then also like, just because someone else is doing it doesn't mean that you need to be doing it, or that you should be doing it, or that it's good for you.
Right. What's the saying? Like if your friend jumped off the bridge, would you also jump off?
No, it's so true.
Yes, it is. Yeah, don't go with the crowd. Do you. Be your authentic self, right? And I feel like, I love that, you kind of talked about that, your like authentic self, and coming to that realization, and how hard it is to come to that realization of being able to unapologetically be our authentic self, especially right now in this world where we are all being taught to conform and to be the same and to think the same, which is crazy to me. And if you don't think the way the collective is thinking, you are shamed for it, or you're deemed crazy, or something.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say it doesn't scare me sometimes, but it also gets way easier with time too. Like even with my podcast, like it really initially started out as like a self-improvement, and I had a little bit of spiritual stuff. Like I never was like really hiding that I was a spiritual person.
Yeah.
But like literally like when the channeling portal opened, I like started the podcast saying like, okay, so like now I'm going to open it up to my spirit guides. And like I didn't really think about it at first. And then I like was thinking back and I was like, oh my God, people might think I'm nuts. Like people might think that I lost it. And then it was like, I was really proud of myself because it wasn't even a second thought at first. Like I literally was just like, this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
This is like what feels in alignment. But I was thinking back on it and I was like, oh wow, like I would have never done that like a few months ago. Like even if that came to me, I just would have been so afraid of what people would have thought. Or like even like I know people that like are not into that stuff who listen to the podcast. And like I would have been so afraid of them thinking I was like weird, or thinking that I literally like people will like think that you're legitimately crazy. And now I'm like, let them think that. Let them think I'm crazy, because at least I'm freaking happy. And at least I'm living in alignment with what's true for me. If that makes me crazy, all right.
Right. Yeah, no. And that's why I call myself a unicorn, because so I'm not the black sheep of the family, I'm the unicorn of the family. Like, no. I'm not even on your level, man. I'm on like a whole
I love it.
right? But you have to be. You have to not care what other people think about who you are, because then it stops you from being who you are. And, I know when I was younger, I somewhat cared just a little bit, and as I've grown, I'm just like, whatever. Again, like you, I'm happy. I'm enjoy most of the time. I'm not gonna say all the time, because I still, have my moments. But for the most part, like, I am super happy with my life. Like, I have loved being Megan. I've loved the journey Megan has taken me on. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And if I wasn't living authentically to myself and being unapologetically me, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I like where I am today.
Yeah, 1,000%. And it's so, like, I was so fearful of what people would think, but I literally had people reaching out to me like, how can I be happy like you? Like, what you feared is, I this is like a big realization I've come to. Like, everything that I was having anxiety about, everything I was like so fearful about, like 0.001% of it manifested. Like, I spent all this time so afraid, but legitimately the opposite has happened. So, like, when you step into your authentic self, that's an energy, that's a vibration, and that cannot be ignored. Like, that is you fully stepping into your light. And I believe that more than anything. And light attracts light. So people are going to be drawn to it, number one, because light attracts everything. Everyone wants to look at the light. Everyone wants to be near the light. It's a warm, it's a loving place. And I show up in a loving way now because I'm being true to myself. I don't feel resentment towards people. I'm not holding myself back. And how can you ignore that energy when I'm able to be more loving, more caring? I'm able to show up better for other people. So how can me being authentically me be a bad thing?
Yeah. And I love that too, like that you opened your podcast up to that. Because first of all, I resonate with it. I remember I listened to your first one, it was just you, and then I listened to a second one and it was with someone, and you had started doing that. And I was like, ooh, I like this. Okay. But again, like, it attracts those people and it gets rid of those people that aren't ready to go on this spiritual journey, that aren't there yet. And it makes them uncomfortable and it makes them like, oh, why is this person doing that? Good. I don't want your energy in my loving light, okay? Because you're just going to dampen it and you're going to attract bad things to me. So sometimes it's good to be our authentic self and to be like, hey, I'm not also going to tolerate people that are going to bring me down. And, finding people that are just as authentic as you. And it's awesome when we can find other people that are on the same journey, not same journey, but same wavelengths at the same time right now, right? Because we're all on different wavelengths. We're all on different levels at the moment, and that's okay. Totally okay. But it's nice to be able to share that we are on the same thing and learning the same things at this time and talking about it with one another. Which is awesome.
I know, it's so beautiful. And I think that it's really just like that openness. So, like, the most important thing is people being open. Like, that's really, I think, has been like the transforming factor for me, because my mom, she's been a Reiki master for 20 plus years. And like, so like, I've like known about these things, but I was very closed off to it. Like, it just, like, I was like, Mom, you're weird, whatever. And then like that little seed of opening. And then now if someone tells me they've been contacted by aliens, I'm like, what? Cool. Like, I really like, I'm so
I'll have to tell you my alien story
later.
Oh
my God, please. Yes. But seriously, like, I just don't feel the need to judge people in like, and whatever they want to tell me, whatever they have experienced, I'm open to it. And I realize that everyone has their own journey. Everyone has the way that they internalize everything. And I think being open to that is like the big key, because that's what helps you connect with people. It doesn't bring you into that judgmental place. And like, judgment really doesn't help me. Like when I'm judgment, I know that when I judge someone else, it's because I'm judging something within myself. Like I know that more than anything. Everyone is a mirror for us. So like when I'm really judgmental, I also bring really judgmental people into my experience. And I just like am so grateful that being open has brought me to people like you. And I know that that's the answer. It's being open, because when you're closed off, number one, you're not going to be able to receive anything, but then also you don't have all these like beautiful people come into your life, and like this unlimited realm of possibility is something that I'm open to now. When I used to think like, oh, things have to go a certain way, like I was very closed and like very closed-minded in what I thought I had to do or what I thought I had to experience. Now I'm realizing that openness brings in things beyond my wildest dreams.
Right. It is crazy. I feel you on that one, because I feel for a long time I was so closed off to everything, literally everything, abundance, money. And it's crazy because our way of thinking, the way we've been programmed, closes us off to those things. So something I learned, like those sayings, right? So like money doesn't grow on trees. Well, that's showing scarcity, that there isn't enough for everyone, that we don't have all this money. And to be honest, though, money does grow on trees. Like
I was literally just gonna say that. Money comes from trees. No, dude, I was literally just gonna say that. I love that saying because it's an illusion, because it literally does. Yeah. It literally does.
But how we've been so programmed to believe that. And so then and that's what they want. They want us to think that we can't have it all, that only a select few are able to tap into that abundance. But same with joy, right? It's like we've been programmed to believe that all these external factors is going to bring us that happiness. And it's like, no, it's not. It's going to be you. But, we're all going to get there. I mean, what do they say? Like the richest people, some of them are so depressed, so unhappy. And they have everything that we think that we want in this world. And it's like, but that's not what this world is about. It's not about materialistic things. And unfortunately, especially in Western cultures, we are very materialistic. And I feel which closes us off from, first of all, having these human connections, because we want to be connected to stuff, not to humans and not to animals and plants, other living, breathing things on this earth. Even plants are they're taking in our CO2 and we're giving off oxygen, but we're more concerned with like, oh hey, my phone, like I need a phone, I can't survive without my phone, like what am I going to do? Which I feel like even that closes us off so much from all the possibilities around us.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I've been really, so like my phone, number one, is like connecting me to you. And like, there's so many beautiful parts about like social media and being the connectors. But then I also realized the other parts where it totally brings me out of the present moment. So like when I used to go walking in nature, I would have my headphones in. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm trying to connect with nature. And then I have my headphones in. And like really like having to give myself reality checks. And like I had this whole experience with Bluetooth that I'm against Bluetooth now. But like I don't use Bluetooth headphones anymore because I had this like very, very intense like moment. But it was just like, I had noise canceling headphones, but they were creating this like crazy noise. And it was like this message from the universe is like, you got something to block out noise, but look how much noise it's creating. And it was like just so apparent with my phone, like even with my boyfriend, like if we're like hanging out and I'm pulling out my phone constantly, like I'm not connecting with him. When like, yeah, I think my phone is great in certain ways and like it connects me to people, but I know when I'm using it in a good way to connect. And then I know when I'm using it as like a mind suck or like to escape the present moment, or just as a reaction habit of pulling out my phone to like take a picture of something when like you're not even able to experience the moment that you're in because you're worried about taking a picture of it.
No, today I went for a run in nature. We have like a cool little forest near where I live. And today I was just like, I'm not going to bring my phone. I'm going to lock it in my car and I'm just going to be at peace, because when I'm out there, I talk to myself so much. That is like another form of me talking to myself always, which is awesome. And it gets me like very grounded and peaceful because I like see nature and I'm like, oh my goodness. And the last few days I've had awesome experiences because there's like a trail and it leads down to the beach. So I like go down there and I'll like sit at the water and kind of like meditate and get myself to a serene place. And the last few days there's been like sea lions there and like
Wow.
just like right next to me and just looking at me, and me being so peaceful, like they're not scared, so they're like up above the water just like and looking straight at me too, and there was like 8 of them and I was just like, this is one of the best moments. Like, but it's so crazy when we're able to tap into being mindful and being in the present moment and what we like get to experience. Because then it was crazy because I would there after maybe like 20 minutes down there, because there was no one, people started coming and I just started noticing them and how unaware they were and not even seeing this beautiful creatures like right in front of them because they were so busy, I think, within themselves that no one was even paying attention. I'm just sitting there like, this is so beautiful, and people are just, I'm like sitting here like in envy and like joy. It's crazy.
I know. Yeah. Even like when I go, so I have, I live in New York City, but I'm also really lucky that I have like a park that has like a bunch of greenery. Like it's like so awesome because it's been like really a great place to go to, especially like during quarantine and like being able to get outside. But like I remember I like made a decision like, okay, I'm like not gonna look at my phone at all. And I saw like 7 Blue Jays, 3 Cardinals, and like I was like, I literally have never seen this many. And I was like, and I bet you they're out here. I just am not paying, like wasn't paying attention. I wasn't present within it. So like those are always reminders for me of like what you miss when you're stuck in a screen or stuck like not in the moment. So I think it's a beautiful lesson for sure. And then like I'm always remembering, I'm like, oh wait, like I saw like all of the Blue Jays and all the Cardinals. So like, why am I gonna even take my what am I do not get the joy when I'm outside on my phone, like the joy I experienced doing that. I was literally freaking out. I was like in awe, like I cry like tears of joy all the time. Like when I'm in nature or like seeing like a sunset or something. And like that is something that I can revel in the beauty of it now. And I remember a time where like I thought like life was ugly and things, and now I can just see the beauty in like every little detail of life. So I definitely know that like being active on the spiritual journey has been able to bring me that kind of joy that I've never experienced before.
I know. Don't you love it though? Like being in those moments. Like even now I've started growing food and watching it like transform. I never thought I would be so happy seeing plants grow in my life, but like it has brought me so much joy. And just like again, and the lesson I'm taking from it, because again, like we kind of talked about, it's like when you feel you're at that bottom in that pit, and just like a seed, right? It's like you need to be buried, you need to be covered and in darkness. But when that happens, like this transformation happens. And same with, these plants, it's like they're breaking from the inside out, and then like, and they're thriving, but you have to find where they thrive. You have to find if they thrive in this environment or this, and how you speak to them and everything, how you care for them. and then you'll see them bloom. And it's just like people. It's like you have to show yourself and other people that same nurturing and compassion and giving yourself that time to grow and blossom. Oh, I've loved my journey of planting.
Yeah, I'm a recent plant mom. So I had my first plant. My boyfriend actually got me a peace lily on like the first anniversary of my dad passing, because it's like a comfort plant. I know, he's the best. So like that kind of started my plant journey, and it's it like flowers every year. So its first flower came up, and I've been like jumping for joy. I literally was so excited. Like planting is the best. I love, like, people like don't understand plant life until they get a plant, but the amount of joy I have gotten from my plants, especially being like in an apartment, has been like nothing else.
Agreed. I think everyone listening, go get a plant, okay? I never thought I would be a plant person, but again, those were negative thoughts that I had put into my mind saying I could never do it. And now that I'm here and now that I'm doing it, I'm just like, why did I not start this sooner? I feel like we've been talking a lot. Because we did her podcast first, and now we're here on my podcast. So we've been talking for almost like 2 hours.
Yeah, it's been.
But I'm so grateful for you. I'm super happy that we got to connect, and I see so much similarities between us and our life journeys, and how they I can see why now the universe has connected us with each other, definitely. And I'm super happy that we are connected. Oh, there goes another fly that's in my room. Just gonna let it be. I'm gonna go and try and get it out of my room in a little bit. Bringing me back. So I have just one question for you. Is there any type of motto or mantra that you go by right now in your life?
I'm gonna go to my go-to is I am. So that's like my go-to mantra, because it really just encapsulates, I think, the whole experience of I am. It doesn't have any definition. I am everything. I am nothing. And every time I'm kind of like lost in definitions, and even like bringing back to the beginning where I was saying like I'm a soul having a human experience, and that's the only thing that feels like unlimiting. The I am statement is something I come back to constantly. So even in like meditation, I can set a timer just for like 2 minutes. If I'm getting lost in like the thoughts or the feelings or something, I'll just put on a timer and sit in silence and either chant or silently say I am. And it really always connects me back to realizing that I am a part of the whole, and I'm also the whole. So that is something I always come back to.
That is true. I love doing affirmations. Those are mostly what I'll try and do that in the morning. Like I'll get a video on, so I don't have to think too much, because in the morning my brain's a little foggy. So like someone else can pick the words for me. I'm just gonna listen and copy. Okay, one last thing before we go. How would you, or what advice would you give to become a goddess, queen, or unicorn?
I guess it's going back to that being unapologetically you. So even when you're scared, even when you feel like people are going to judge you, even when you feel like you're not good enough as you are, remembering that you are worthy just because you are here. There's nothing that you need to do. There's nothing you need to say. There's nothing. Everything that you are is worthy in its entirety. And I think that remembering that you being here is your permission slip to have whatever the hell you want. You being here is your permission slip to be authentically who you are. So I really think being unapologetically you, even when it's scary, even when you've never done that before, taking that first step is the hardest. And I think that if you keep just showing up unapologetically as yourself, it gets easier and easier, and then you don't even have to think about it anymore.
Oh, thank you. That was beautifully said. And I appreciate your words. I appreciate you coming on here. Yeah, I'm so grateful for our connection and this amazing experience, and I can't wait for the many more talks that I know we are definitely going to be having.
I know. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we connected.
And, well, until next time.
Wow, was that not amazing? Not only am I so grateful to have such this incredible conversation, but I'm so grateful for Erin for sharing her story and for being her authentic self and being so vulnerable to be able to share our stories with one another is something that brings us strength. And I hope that you can see her strength and find your strength within to share your story and be unapologetically you and bring out that authentic self, because you were made to shine. You were made to come to this earth and learn how to, yes, be a human and find the balance of being a soul in a human body. But that's the fun of it, is enjoying it and getting to be who you want to be on this journey, not who anyone is telling you to be or who you should be. So again, take this week to maybe start writing down who are you, right? Write it down in your journal and just write, who would I like to be? Who am I? And see what comes. You can even talk to yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, because I know that you are amazing. You are deserving and you are loved. You are beautiful. And I can't wait for you to tap into that, because we all deserve to tap into that. We all deserve to be unapologetically us. So I hope you took away some teachable moments, because I know I definitely took away so many teachable lessons on here. Erin has so much wisdom to share with the world, and I'm so glad that she could share it with us. All right, my lovely tribe, I hope that you all come on over to the Facebook group, where I have some amazing free overcoming obstacles workbooks that kind of takes you through how to communicate, how to come over, how to overcome different things in our life that are stopping us. So I hope you come and join. The link will be down below, but you can find us at facebook.com/TEACH.TRAVEL.TALK tribe. And I can't wait for you to come and join this amazing tribe of inspirational people. So until next Tuesday, have a wonderful rest of your week full of magical moments. Namaste.
For all of you that keep listening, I do sell hair care products and face products. It is a great company. It's called Monet. I absolutely love working with them. They have incredible products that are vegan friendly. They have no harsh chemicals, and my hair absolutely loves it. And I'm a stickler for advocating for products that don't use harsh chemicals, that only use plant-based derived ingredients, which this company does, which obviously my hair agrees with it, because I've never seen my hair grow so much and just look amazing, healthy, which I dye my hair so much. So my hair does not like me all the time. And they taught me how to actually wash my hair, which is crazy. I always thought I knew how to wash my hair, but apparently I didn't. So I'll just share that really quick because I thought it was amazing. So with this product, you only need about a quarter size of product, and with the shampoo, you wash your hair twice. So because they don't have sulfates, it's not as sudsy as normal shampoo. So the first wash is to really get that excess oil and, harsh things from the outside environment to get off of your hair. And then that second wash is actually to get those nutrients from that shampoo into your hair, because obviously we've had all these blockages from, our environment, from dirt, from all that stuff. Especially I don't wash my hair every single day, so it builds up. which is amazing. And for the shampoo, same thing, just a quarter size. You leave it in. I'm really bad about leaving my conditioner in, I'm not gonna lie. But for here, I always use a a conditioning mask after, and I let that sit in my hair for like 10 minutes or so whenever I remember to rinse it out. And it just leaves my hair so hydrated and so amazing. My hair has gotten so much more curlier, and again, it has grown so much, which is amazing. I absolutely love it. And I love smelling my hair. It smells delicious. I just washed my hair, which is amazing. So, if you would definitely love to buy any products, I will link my website down below. You can please take the beauty test. There is a quiz on there that will give you the right products. If you're still not sure, my email is on there. Please reach out to me, and I would love to talk to you more about the products and what product would be best fit for you, and talk about more of their VIP, maybe some promotions that are going on. Or if you want to be a market partner, if you want to come on board and also sell these lovely beauty products, that would be amazing. So I hope you can join me, maybe be a part of my team, or just enjoy these amazing products that are not only healthy for your body, but healthy for the environment. So, again, I hope you have enjoyed, and I can't wait to talk to you next week. So, have a lovely day, night, evening, whatever it is.